5 breeds. Every single one of them gets recommended constantly, by vets, by breeders, by YouTube channels with millions of subscribers. And every single one of them, I won't touch. Not because I can't handle a difficult dog. I can. That's the point. I'm going to work backward from number 1 because number 1 is going to genuinely surprise you. It's not a breed known for aggression. It's not a breed that's banned anywhere in the world. It might be sitting in your living room right now. But I'll get there. Let's start with number 5. And the reason I won't own this one has nothing to do with behavior. 5. Shar Pei. The wrinkles look harmless. That's the trap. Shar Peis have a genetic condition called SPAID, Shar Pei autoinflammatory disease. The name is new, the condition isn't. It was previously called Shar Pei fever, which sounds manageable. It isn't. SPAID causes recurring inflammatory episodes, joint swelling, high fever, abdominal pain. The dog looks fine, then it isn't, then it looks fine again. What's happening underneath is that proteins called amyloids are slowly depositing in the kidneys and liver. That process is called amyloidosis, and it's progressive. It doesn't stop. Studies from the Royal Veterinary College in London put the median age of kidney failure in affected Shar Peis at around 5 to 6 years. With a dog that has a listed lifespan of 8 to 12 years, you're potentially looking at half that life in managed decline. The estimated prevalence of SPAID in the breed is somewhere between 20 and 25%, depending on the population studied. 1 in 4. Those aren't odds I'm willing to deal with, financially or emotionally. The average lifetime veterinary cost for a Shar Pei with amyloidosis, factoring in diagnostics, anti-inflammatory management, and eventual organ support, exceeds most people's entire pet budget. I've seen figures above $15,000 cited in veterinary practice management literature. Nobody tells you this at the breeder's website. They show you pictures of wrinkly puppies. 4. Dalmatian. This one's going to sting if you grew up in the 90s. After 101 Dalmatians hit theaters in 1996, Dalmatian registrations in the US spiked by more than 100% within 2 years. Hundreds of thousands of puppies bred by people whose only qualification was owning a Dalmatian. The temperament problems that followed that era are still working through the breed's gene pool today, but the behavioral issues aren't even the main reason. This is. George Strain at Louisiana State University has been running B-ear testing, that's brainstem auditory evoked response testing, on Dalmatians since the early 1990s. His dataset now covers tens of thousands of dogs. The numbers are consistent. Approximately 8% of Dalmatians are bilaterally deaf, meaning deaf in both ears. Another 22 to 24% are unilaterally deaf, deaf in one ear. That's nearly 1 in 3 Dalmatians with some degree of hearing impairment. A unilaterally deaf dog can function reasonably well. A bilaterally deaf dog requires an entirely different training approach, and most owners, including experienced ones, don't know that going in. They buy a Dalmatian, the dog is unresponsive, they assume it's stubborn. It's not stubborn, it can't hear you. The deafness is linked to the same extreme piebald gene that produces the white coat and the spots. You can't have the look without the genetic risk. They're connected. So you have a breed with a documented 1 in 3 chance of hearing impairment, a post-boom behavioral inheritance that makes temperament highly variable, and urinary health issues. Dalmatians have a unique uric acid metabolism that makes them prone to bladder and kidney stones at rates far above other breeds. That's 3 separate documented issues stacked on one dog. I'm out. 3. Cane Corso. I want to be clear about something. A well-bred Cane Corso, raised correctly with the right owner, is one of the most impressive dogs that exists. I've worked with them. I understand the appeal. The problem isn't the breed. The problem is what's being sold under the breed's name. The Cane Corso nearly went extinct by the 1970s. A small group of Italian breeders brought it back through the 1980s and 1990s using a careful reconstruction program. The Italian Breed Club, the Società Amatori Cane Corso, maintained strict temperament standards. The dogs they produced were confident, stable, trainable. Hard, but manageable. Then the breed exploded in popularity in North America and parts of Europe in the 2000s. A poorly bred Cane Corso isn't just difficult, it's a 110-pound dog with a bite force in the 700 psi range. And yes, the Cane Corso is one of the few large breeds where force measurements have actually been estimated through legitimate biomechanical modeling. With structural fear, unpredictability, and no off switch. That's a different category of problem than a reactive border collie. How do you tell a well-bred from a poorly bred? You largely can't at 8 weeks old. You need documented pedigrees going back multiple generations, ATTS temperament test records, and breeder transparency. Most people buying Cane Corsos in 2024 are getting none of that. The breed isn't the problem, the market is, and I'm not willing to roll the dice. 2. Chow Chow. A 2020 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science looked at breed-specific aggression patterns across 4,000 dogs using owner-reported and clinician-assessed behavioral data. Chow Chows ranked in the top 3 for stranger-directed aggression. Not unusual. You'd expect a guard-type breed to rank high there. What was notable was that they also ranked high for owner-directed aggression, meaning the people who raised them, bonded with them, trained them. That's not a training failure. That's a neurological disposition. There's a concept in canine behavioral science called rage syndrome, which is a loaded and somewhat contested term. But what it describes is documented in Chow Chows. Episodes of sudden, unpredictable aggression with no clear trigger, sometimes in dogs with no prior bite history. The episodes can occur mid-play, mid-petting, or with zero contextual explanation. Researchers now believe this pattern is linked to idiopathic epileptic activity, essentially a seizure-adjacent event in the limbic system that briefly removes inhibitory control. This isn't every Chow Chow. Most Chow Chows are distant, aloof, and territorial, which is manageable. But the subset that has this disposition can't be identified in advance, can't be trained out of it. Chow Chows are also consistently among the top 5 breeds listed in homeowners' insurance bite claims data published by the Insurance Information Institute. That data covers paid claims, actual documented injuries, not reported incidents. The liability exposure alone would make this breed difficult for most owners. Add the neurological unpredictability, and I won't go near one. 1. Belgian Malinois. I said it wouldn't be a breed known for aggression. I said it might be sitting in your living room. Malinois sales to civilian owners have increased by over 300% in the last decade. Military and police working dog footage went viral. John Wick has one. People see focus, drive, and power. They want that. What they're actually buying is a dog that was selectively bred for one specific thing: to work continuously at high stress for 8 to 10 hours a day with a professional handler inside a structured environment for its entire adult life. That's not an exaggeration, that's the breed function. The Malinois has the highest drive-to-off switch ratio of any breed developed for working purposes. A German Shepherd can decompress. A Dutch Shepherd has a moderate downtime setting. A Malinois doesn't. The on-switch is always half-engaged. When that drive has no outlet, which is the case in 95% of civilian homes, it redirects into the walls, into the furniture, into anxiety-driven destruction, and eventually into the human nearest to it. The military retires a working Malinois and has a careful protocol for transitioning it to civilian life. The $2,500 Malinois puppy bought from an online breeder has no such protocol. It has a family that wanted a cool dog. That's not the dog's fault, but it is the outcome. 5 breeds, all recommended constantly, all for documented reasons off my list. The question worth sitting with is why so many of these facts, the deafness rates, the genetic disease prevalence, the temperament study data, don't show up in the places people actually go when they're deciding what dog to bring home.